Hi everyone! So today I'm going to host an online live sauerkraut making demonstration and a little bit of a talk about what sauerkraut can do and the health benefits that it provides as well. So I've got my computer with me as well. I'm just going to refresh it just so I can see any comments or questions that you have along the way. So please feel free to ask. It's all about education. And join in whenever you feel free. So this will be recorded and posted onto the page for later viewing if you're unable to attend, and I'll also link all the information and all the resources and references that I discuss. I'll post in here as well, so you can do a little bit of research. So we're going to talk a little bit about fermented foods, which I've mentioned before in my kombucha demonstration and talk that I did. So I focus a lot in practice about the gut and about gut health. A lot of inflammation, a lot of disease, a lot of concerns and symptoms that people come in to see me about always relate back to the gut and how you're digesting your food and how you're absorbing your food. So this is something that we take really seriously, and it's incorporating a bit of like a holistic side to treating a person and their symptoms. So looking at fermented foods, they provide a source of prebiotics, and a prebiotic is a source of food that provides food and nutrients for the bacteria within our gut. So it also contains different strains of bacteria. So I have had a question about whether or not it's worthwhile doing different fruits and vegetables with your ferments, and I'm a firm believer in variety and balance. So I'd probably recommend trialing different fruits and vegetables along with different ferments. So look at things like your sauerkraut and your kombucha, along with kvass, which is a beetroot ferment, and kefir, which is sort of a yogurt grain one as well. So just sort of rotating those around, having different ones each day, and making it a nice variety and a nice balance. And that sort of ensures you get plenty of different strains from the fermented foods, and it also helps feed the digestion system and your gut bugs as well, which is what we want to do. So good bacteria helps contribute to healthy life and health and well-being of how we feel in our mood, how our digestion works. It also helps with inflammation and chronic pain as well. So it's very important to understand that we are more bacteria than we are human. So there's about 100 billion bacteria per cell in our body. So we are actually more bug than we are human. So it's important to look after these guys who protect us, who nurture our body, who provide us with fuel and help support our health and well-being. So different things, like different symptoms that can arise when we have an imbalance of our gut bacteria are things like we might be gassy or bloated, we might have diarrhea or constipation, our mood may be altered, we may have behavioural issues in children, things like skin problems, we may not sleep well, we might have the high sugar cravings for the processed foods. We also have trouble maintaining our weight and losing weight if we really want to as well, which all comes hand in hand with these commensal bacteria that we have and the potential for them to become pathogens within our body. So we try and work on a whole foods diet which helps support and feed the bacteria, and also providing probiotics and bacteria strains to introduce new species into our gut and our digestive system, and also help to eliminate some of the bad guys. So they fight to keep their position and their environment from these bad guys that come in. So if we are exposed to a potential virus or a pathogen, these guys help fight it. So they're our first line of defense. We have trillions of them on our skin, and they provide a protective barrier for different environmental toxins or pathogens or chemicals or exposure to sun, all these different things. They help protect us from all these pathogens and things that might infect our body and cause disease or chronic illness. So sauerkraut has been studied, and there are several scientific articles that do show that there are benefits. However, the research is quite limited, as it is with most CAM practices. Now, CAM being your complementary and alternative medicine. A lot of it is reduced because the funding isn't there, so the studies aren't available. And a lot of the things that we do and we prescribe help people feel better, and a lot of our clients come back and they're feeling better in themselves, whether or not there's a study to prove that it was. If you're feeling better, that's good. So there are different studies that do show that it helps with mental and cognitive function. It also helps with fight depression and anxiety that may be occurring with the mind-gut. So we're also looking at digestive concerns like leaky gut syndrome, which causes your IBS, your ulcerative colitis, bloating, diarrhea. It also helps fight cancer and asthma. There's hormone balances as well. It can help keep everything regular and keeping all the receptors working correctly as well in the body. Helps fight food allergies and sensitivities, which do cause a lot of the digestive concerns that you see. And it also may help fight some chronic diseases as well. So I'm going to run through a little bit of a sauerkraut demonstration. And sauerkraut is so easy to make, and it's so cheap as well. When you buy it from the store, it is quite expensive. If you do want to buy it from the store, you need to make sure it's kept in the refrigerator. So do not buy it on the shelf, because it doesn't contain the bacteria strains, the live cultures, and it'll be rendered, I think you can consider it rancid even. So look for the ones in the fridge, and always keep your sauerkraut, once it's fermented, in the fridge for storage, and it can last up to, I'd probably say around a month, if it's kept in the right temperatures as well. Now, you don't have to do just cabbage, which is what I'm doing today. You can get a little bit creative. You can put different things in, like different vegetables. You might grate up some carrot. You might put fresh herbs in, like dill or parsley. You might want to put some garlic. Get creative. Get inspired to try different recipes. And I have done quite a few with different vegetables, like a mix, and done a little bit of a kimchi, which is a Korean spiced fermented vegetable. So it's all different vegetables, and it's got the lovely Korean spices like your chili, your garlic, and it's such a robust flavour as well. But if you're new to fermented vegetables, I'd probably suggest just starting basic. Don't get too creative just yet. Just see if you like it, see how you go. Because it does have a particular taste that some people don't like. Some people do take a little bit of time to adjust to the flavour as well. When you want to start eating it, maybe just put a little spoonful, a little forkful on your plate with the rest of your meal, and try that daily and just see how you go and how you respond to it. There is a lot of health benefits with fermented foods, but it doesn't suit everybody, and some people do have adverse reactions to the fermented food, so you need to be cautious of that as well. Again, we treat people individually. Everyone's different. One diet will not suit all. But I do highly recommend trialing and just seeing how you go and whether or not you respond well. So I've started to cut up some cabbage, and I've put it in a bowl with the salt just so I can show you how it goes after it's been sitting for an hour or two. I will go through the steps from the beginning, and then also how we jar it up as well. So I've sort of pre-prepared some just so I could take you through the whole procedure so you can see how it's done. And I do hope you get inspired at home to make this on your own, because it is so easy. We live on a farm and we're growing vegetables, so even if you've got your own cabbages out there and you've got so much, this is a great way to get your vegetables and ferment them to make them last as well. This was used as a preservation method decades ago. This was before we started canning our foods and using salt and preservatives and additives to preserve our food. This is how they used to make their food last longer. So it's worthwhile giving it a go. It's so easy. So I'm just going to turn the camera so you guys can see what I'm going to do. So I apologise for the movement. Now, I hope this holds. I've sort of got you spidered on there. Okay, so I've got my cabbage. I hope you can see with the light behind me. Unfortunately, coming into the afternoon, I've got the worst lighting to be doing this, so I really hope that you can see it alright. So I use Himalayan pink salt, which contains all minerals rather than your iodized salt. So your iodized salt and your white salt that you buy is often very processed, and it doesn't contain all the lovely nutrients and minerals that real salt contains. So I recommend getting your pink salt or your natural sea salt. And I've got a little bit of cabbage left, but I have started to chop some up, which I've got in a bowl. So I'll take you through the process from the beginning. So I'll just get my knife. So you get your cabbage, and you want to sort of cut it up nice and fine. I like it fine. Some people like it a bit chunky, others not so much. I prefer it a little bit finer rather than chunky, especially when you're starting out. And if you want to get creative, you can add some grated carrot or zucchini. You may want to add some cucumber, whatever you feel like. So I'm just going to start chopping it up really fine, and then I'm going to put it into my bowl. So this is the part where you want to make sure that you don't cut your fingers off, and make sure you've washed your hands first, which I have done so. So we chop it up nice and fine. And then I'm going to put it into a bowl, which I have here ready. So we're just sort of, if you need to, you can break it up a little bit as well. So we'll pop it into the bowl. Okay, so I've got it all chopped up nicely into the bowl. And then typically the recipe that I have requires 1 kilogram of cabbage with, you can put 1 to 2 tablespoons of your salt, but I don't measure anything, and I never do with my recipes, and this isn't quite a kilo now because I've cut it up in pieces. So I'm just going to sprinkle my salt on, and then give it a little bit of a mix to make sure the salt gets onto the cabbage on the bottom. And I'm just going to break it up a little bit because there's a little bit of a chunky bit there. Okay. So you want to make sure it's coated nice and thoroughly, and mix it around to make sure the salt gets down. And then what you do is you cover it with a tea towel, and you want to let it sit like that for around an hour. If it's winter, you may want to let it sit just a little bit longer because you need to keep it warm. So depending on the weather, it's quite a warm day today, so it hasn't taken that long, which is good. So this is one that I cut up earlier and salted, so it's ready to go. And I don't know if you can see, but down the bottom it's already started to give out some of the juice in the water. So what I need to do is get my hands dirty. Now this is the fun bit. Now don't forget, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask because I will answer them throughout the session. So this is when you get your hands dirty. So you want to get in there and you want to squeeze the cabbage to try and get out that juice. So the salt draws out the liquid and the moisture of the cabbage, which helps to begin the fermentation process, which I find this all incredible how this all works. It's fantastic. So you can start to squeeze it out and you can see the juice starting to run when I squeeze it. So it does accumulate quite a bit of liquid. So when you've cut up the cabbage and you're looking at it and thinking, gee, I've got a lot of cabbage, how am I going to get this all to fit in my jar? Once you've added your salt and let it sit and you've massaged it all in, you'll be surprised how little you end up with. So it does reduce down a lot. So you just need to get in and give it a good massage, and you want to try and get that liquid out. This is great fun, and I actually usually do this when my daughter's home because she loves to get in and play in it. It's a lot of fun getting your hands dirty, especially when you're a kid. So she helps me to massage it and squeeze it and mix it and push it all down. She loves to do that. So it's a great way to get the kids involved, have a bit of fun, and teach them a little bit about preserving food, about ferments, about gut bacteria, and teach them about healthy food. So I've massaged that down a little bit while I've been talking to you, and you can already see that it's reduced quite a bit. It'll reduce down a lot more once I start putting it into the jar. So I've got a jar here I'm going to use. It's just a glass jar. Now with this one, it's a little bit different to the kombucha. You don't put a cloth on the top. You want to make sure it's sealed tight. When you fill it up, you need to make sure you leave about an inch gap from the liquid to the top, because it does rise, and sometimes I filled a little bit too high and it does overflow. So I always wrap a tea towel around it as well, just to stop that. But you need to make sure it's sealed tight, and you don't need to burp it either. So I'm going to put my sauerkraut into the jar. So I squeeze it tight, and I need to pack it in to the jar really tight. I can't just pop it in there and leave it loose like this. It needs to be packed really tight. So I always recommend using a jar with quite a wide opening, so you can get your hand and your fist in there to push it all down to make sure that it's compacted. And as you're squeezing it down in the jar, you'll find that it'll start releasing a little bit more of that liquid as well. I always end up with so much remainder of the liquid. Now, this is safe to give to children. If you're just starting them, I'd probably recommend just giving them some of the fermented juice and add it to their smoothies, or you may want to add it to their food or their drinks, so the juice. Just a couple of drops to the juice, not too much, and start to build up from there. Otherwise, it may cause some unwanted side effects and make them irritable. And being children, they just won't like the flavour. So, important to introduce them slowly. And even with yourself, if you're a little bit unsure, you can just try the juice as well for a little while. Don't ever discard the juice, because the juice does contain a lot of the bacteria and a lot of the health benefits that we're after. So we push it all down. As I'm pushing it, it's pushing up a lot of the liquid, so I have a lot of liquid remaining. So I'm starting to push it all down, and I've got so much liquid left over as I usually do. So I'm just going to take a little bit in there. Probably don't use it all. So there we go. I always make a big mess when I do this, but that's half the fun, right? Now, if you put it in a jar that's quite got a lot of room, and you put all your sauerkraut in, and you end up only filling your jar about that full, and you've still got all this area gap, you can put a full cabbage leaf on the top and weigh it down to help flatten it and push it all down. But that's how I'm doing that one. So I've left a little bit of a gap between the sauerkraut and the liquid juice and the top, because that will rise as it ferments, which is key. Otherwise you'll have a huge mess everywhere. And I've still got some juice remaining. So you can keep this juice. I might even use it to make up my second batch that I've got here. You can also put this juice into the fridge, or even in a jar if you want to ferment it a bit longer as well. And just put the lid on. Now, when I'm finished, I will end up putting some bands around this and wrapping it up in a tea towel to make sure it's all tight and secure. I've got some old cloth that I generally use to wrap it up in, and I will get some elastic bands to tie it up, because this one actually doesn't have a clasp. The clasp broke, which is a pain. Otherwise you might want to get a jar with a screw top lid as well that you can just screw on. It's up to you which way you go, or you can get one with the push down clasp, which is what this had, but every one that I've had broke, so I wouldn't recommend them. So I'm going to leave the juice, because I'll probably use it for the rest of my cabbages I've got sitting here, and this is what it'll end up looking like once you've finished. So, I'm just going to move you again. I do apologise. I'm sure I'll be moving. Hi again. Oh, jeez, it's not very stable here. Okay, so this is what you end up with. Now, you can ferment it for probably about a week in the warmer months in summer. In winter it can take a little bit longer. Sometimes it can take a couple of weeks. So you just need to, it's really hard because with the kombucha you can taste it to see if it's ready. With the sauerkraut I don't recommend that because once you take the lid off, you've burped it. That means when you take the lid off, it'll release a gas, and sometimes it will overflow everywhere as well, so just be cautious of that. And it releases a lot of the fermentation bacteria, and sometimes it can alter the process or halt it. So I don't recommend taking it off to try it. Probably rule of thumb is 2 weeks in winter, wrapped up nice and warm with a cloth, or 1 week for summer. If it's really hot, if it's like 45-degree days, it might only take 5 days. But once it's finished, you store it in the refrigerator, and you need to keep it below 4 degrees. And then you just take it out as you need it, as you want to, include it in your diet and your foods. And you need to slowly wean yourself up and introduce yourself to this food. So I wouldn't recommend sitting down and having a big cupful. Maybe just a small forkful, just a couple of bits and maybe a bit of juice, and just see how you go and how your body responds before you start getting a little bit too crazy with it. And it does taste really nice. I like the flavour. Some people are a little bit, I don't know. And cabbage does have quite a bit of flavour, but cabbage is quite nourishing for the digestive system, and it does provide a lot of incredible health benefits to support digestion and absorption as well. So you may even want to keep some of the cabbage juice and put it through your morning smoothies or juices. You may want to add it to some liquids throughout the day as well, or you may add it to some homemade desserts or whatever. I mean, the possibilities are endless. So you can use it instead of salt in a recipe if you wanted to, and then you're introducing that bacteria and all those health benefits as well into your foods. So there's different ideas for you to have a go. So I'm not going to wrap it up just yet. I'll wait until I've finished with the second batch that I've cut up, and then I will post a picture onto the feed of what it looks like in the finished result, and then I'll just let it sit for a week before I enjoy it. So if you have any questions relating to ferment, sauerkraut, just anything in general relating to health, please get in touch with me. You can leave some comments down below, and you can also email me. This is the last video that I had scheduled, the last event, for a little while. I'm hoping in the new year that I can do some more workshops and some actual face-to-face ones rather than just videos. So if you have any interest in that, please let me know. If you've got any particular topics that you want me to discuss, or if you wanted a particular cooking demonstration or a class, let me know and I'll try to organise something. I'm here to educate, and I want to cater to you guys, and I want to help you learn about health and well-being and how easy it can be to cook and to make healthy foods at home. So it doesn't have to be a massive task. It is quite easy to do, and there are some tricks and some shortcuts, and I'm all about the easy way. I also have a special offer running at the moment. I'm offering a health nutritional analysis for 7 days. So what happens if you're interested in that, it's only $29. I'll send you a 7-day food diary and a comprehensive health questionnaire. So you fill those in and return them to me. And I'll do a little bit of an assessment about your current diet. Perhaps there's some foods that you may benefit from including. Perhaps you're having too much of something. I'll talk about different nutrient deficiencies that you may be at risk of developing if you were to continue. I'll do a breakdown of your energy requirements, your macronutrient distribution range, which is how much of your carbohydrates, your proteins, and your fats that you need in your diet to keep healthy. and I'll send you the report through. So it's quite a bargain for $29. It does include a lot of information, and it's done by a nutritional professional. So if you're after a little bit of advice on whether or not you're on the right track with your diet, or perhaps just want some simple changes to your diet to get ready for summer and for Christmas, this might be great for you. And it's quite easy because you don't actually have to come in to sit down for a full consultation. You just send through some details at your own convenience, and I'll send back the report to you. So it's quite a nice, convenient, flexible and easy way to get a little bit of advice from a professional on whether or not you're on the right track with your health. So if you're interested in that, please message me, and I'll send you some information through. I will need your email address, and then it's only $29 for all of that information, and any health information you can get is invaluable. So it all contributes to how you feel, how you're functioning, and it gives you the longevity in your life as well. So it is absolutely invaluable, all this education. And this is why I've offered these free videos to help educate you guys, to answer some questions that you may have relating to health, because education is key to a healthy life. So I hope you've enjoyed the videos that I've done. I will be posting them onto the page so you can watch them for later viewing. If you have any questions, let me know. If you'd like to get the nutritional analysis, please message me. And I do hope to incorporate more workshops and videos in the new year. Unfortunately, coming up to Christmas, it's so close, there's just not enough time to schedule anything now. But I do hope that you've learned something and maybe even inspired you a little bit to start doing some ferments at home, because they are so easy and so delicious as well. So if you do make any of these, please post a picture and tag me, because I'd love to see what you've created. And I love to see the wonderful ideas that you've come up with, and the different, sometimes people incorporate so much different vegetables and herbs that I had never even thought of. So maybe I'll get a little bit inspired as well. So let's all help learn together and inspire each other. So I hope you have a lovely day and session, and I hope that you've learned something as well. If you have any more questions, please let me know, and have a wonderful day. Thanks guys, bye bye.